Maybe you don't believe in astrology. Maybe it feels vague or silly or just horoscopes in a magazine, and that's fair. But astrology isn't really about fate. It's about pattern. The planets move in cycles that humans have tracked for thousands of years. And those cycles, they line up with real repeating shifts in how we think, feel, and act. You don't have to believe in it to notice it working. In fact, long before we had therapists or self-help books, people looked up. They tracked the sky and they noticed something. Those same patterns kept showing up in the seasons, in the tides, in us. Astrology is one of the oldest systems humans ever built to make sense of themselves, and honestly, it still works because we're still the same creatures under that same sky. I'm Stephanie, and every week on Astrological Insights, I break down what's happening in the sky, take those ancient patterns and translate them into something that you can actually use in your relationships, your work, your everyday life. No mysticism required. Welcome to your weekly Astrological Insights. Hey there, my cosmic friends. Welcome back. If this is your first time here, hi, I'm Stephanie. And every week I take the actual planetary movements that are happening in the sky and translate them into, okay, so what's this mean for my Tuesday? No prior astrology knowledge required. You don't need to know your rising sign to get something out of the episodes. You just need to be a person with feelings, which, congratulations, you are. And this week, it's kind of a big one, like mark your calendar, main character arc big. We've got a full moon lunar eclipse landing in Pisces on Thursday night. And honestly, the whole week is basically the buildup and the come down around that one moment. So let's talk about what an eclipse even is, real quick, because I say this word a lot and I want you to actually know what I mean. So, a regular full moon is already an emotional release valve, right? It's that point in the lunar cycle where whatever's been building finally comes to a head. An eclipse, that turned up, right? It takes it and turns it up some. A lot, actually. So think of this as the universe's reset button. Eclipses tend to force closure on things that you've been dragging your feet on. Maybe it's a situation ship that needed to end. It's a job that stopped fitting, a belief about yourself that you really and quietly outgrown. You don't usually get to pick what an eclipse clears. It just clears it, which can feel really destabilizing in the moment and weirdly relieving about 2 weeks later. Okay, so let's actually walk through this week because I think there's a real story here as we walk through the entire week. On Monday, August 24th, we're going to open with a little friction. The moon, which is basically your gut, right? Your mood, your emotional weather for the day, is in Capricorn. And it's making what's called a square to Venus in Libra. A square is a tense angle between two planets, kind of like two people who want different things standing in that same doorway. Neither one's wrong, they just have to negotiate. Capricorn wants to keep things practical and buttoned up. Venus in Libra wants things to feel fair and harmonious. So you might feel torn today between just hold it together and actually say what you need. My advice, say what you need. Later Monday, Mercury, and that's the planet of communication, your thoughts and your words, makes a nice, easy trine. It's the opposite of a square. It's kind of a flowing, no effort kind of connection to Vesta in Aries. Vesta is this asteroid that represents your inner flame, the thing that you're devoted to. So, under the tension, there's also this current of talking honestly about what you actually care about. It's really going to be a good day to have that conversation that you've been putting off. Tuesday, August 25th, is a lot. So I'll just say buckle up first. The moon shifts into Aquarius early in the morning, which flips your mood from that serious and structured to detached, idea driven, maybe a little bit main character observing life, but from back here, right? From a distance. Mercury opposes the North Node. The North Node is basically a symbolic point that represents the direction your life is trying to pull you toward. It's your growth edge, right? It's our karmic destiny. And an opposition means two things are staring each other down, forcing you to actually see both sides. I like to think of oppositions as a seesaw. You want to meet somewhere in the middle. So, a conversation or a piece of information today might feel like it's tugging you toward where you're supposed to be headed, even if it's uncomfortable. Then the moon's going to square Chiron, which is the asteroid named the Wounded Healer. So, it's an old sore spot, probably around safety or self worth, might get lightly poked. It's not fun, but it's useful because right after that, Mercury moves into Virgo. This is huge for our week. Mercury in Virgo is detail oriented, organized, kind of that let me make a list and actually follow it energy. It's a total 180 from Mercury's more expressive, look at me, Leo mood that we left the day before. So even though the morning is going to stir up some stuff, stir some things up for us, by mid-morning, our brain is getting way more practical and more clear. Also happening Tuesday, the moon is going to fuse with Pluto. That's a conjunction when two planets sit right on top of each other and their energies really blend, which can bring up something intense that's been sitting under the surface, wanting to be acknowledged. There's also an easy sextile from the moon to Neptune, a gentle little opportunity for some dreamy insight if you're paying attention. And here's a quiet but important one. Vesta stations retrograde in Aries at noon. When a planet stations retrograde, it basically pauses and appears to move backward from our view on Earth. Vesta is actually an asteroid, but astrologically, that's a signal to slow down and review instead of push forward. And since Vesta is about devotion and focus, this is a genuine invitation to ask, where have I been burning myself out for something that just doesn't deserve that fire from me anymore? And I want you to sit with that one. The day wraps with Mercury easily trining Chiron. It's a healing conversation that's going to become much easier to have. And the moon trining Uranus, which can feel like a sudden flash of, oh, okay, I get it now, which is going to feel really good. Wednesday, August 26th is calmer. Thank you very much, universe. The moon opposes Jupiter in the morning, so there's a little restlessness, a pull between wanting to go big and wanting to stay logical. Don't overcommit to anything before lunch. Then things will ease. A sextile to Saturn offers a real chance to get grounded if you take it. And by afternoon, the moon trines Venus, which is a genuinely sweet, easy flowing stretch for relationships and self worth. Total opposite of Monday's tension. Nice breather day for us. Hi, I'm Stephanie from Immersive Spirit. I hope you're enjoying this week's Astrological Insights podcast. If you find that these dates resonate for you, or you just love astrology, I would love to book a reading with you and just explore your own chart, whether it's a particular location you're interested in, whether it's looking at transits that are coming for you in the future and how there's certain dates that might align better than others. Or maybe it's just knowing more about that beautiful space that you were born into and exactly how the stars aligned just for you at your time of birth. I would be honored to speak with you. Head to immersivespirit.com and look for our services. You'll find several options there waiting for you, and I'll be excited to talk with you and dig into your astrological chart. Now, back to our podcast. Thursday, August 27th. So this is our day. Everything's been building here. In the late morning, we have Mercury conjuncting the sun in Virgo. So your thinking and your core identity, they'll be perfectly aligned, super clear. I know exactly what I need to do kind of energy. Then the moon conjuncts the north node right around lunchtime. So whatever's on your mind at the moment is basically fused with your bigger life direction. So pay attention to what you're thinking about right then. It matters a lot more than it will seem. Early afternoon, the mood slides into Pisces, and the whole emotional temperature of our day shifts into something softer, more porous, more sensitive. Then we have a gentle sextile to Chiron that's opening the door for some healing tears. And I mean that in the very, very best way. Then at 10:18 p.m., the full moon lunar eclipse hits, exact in Pisces. This is the emotional climax of not just the week, but arguably our whole month. Because whatever has been building, and actually we've been in an eclipse season, Pisces eclipse season, since September of 2024, right? So whatever's been building, a truth you've been avoiding, a relationship dynamic you've outgrown, maybe it's a version of yourself that you're ready to release. This is the moment that all comes up for air. Let yourself feel whatever shows up tonight. Don't try to think your way out of it because right after that moon opposes Mercury, your heart and your head are going to be pulling you in very different directions. And honestly, just let your heart win tonight. The moon also squares Uranus late at night, so don't be shocked if something shifts or a plan gets rearranged absolutely out of nowhere. Eclipse nights are not the nights for 5-year plans, they're the nights for letting go. Friday, August 28th, kind of our plot twist day. Really no cap. Mercury squares Uranus in the very early morning. Thoughts get scrambled, unexpected info is going to drop for us, maybe a text you weren't expecting, maybe an email. There's also a sweet sextile from Mercury to Ceres, another asteroid. So there's comfort available in that conversation, even among all the chaos. Mid morning, the moon trines Mars. So your protective instincts are going to flow easily into action. It's a good day to take care of someone, including and especially yourself. But the headline of our day is at 4:18 p.m. The sun squares Uranus. This is that aftershock of the eclipse. Your sense of identity or your plans get really an unexpected jolt. Something you thought was settled might suddenly feel up for absolute renegotiation. It's not punishment, it's growth. It's just showing up uninvited. So stay loose today. Saturday, August 29th is quiet, and you've earned it. We've all earned it. That Sun Sextile series in the very early hours, it's an easy, guilt-free opportunity to actually take care of yourself. Then at 8:37 p.m., the moon moves into Aries, and you can feel the energy start to charge up, like the calm right before the final scene of a movie, right before that big ah at the end. Then Sunday, August 30th, the moon runs through practically the entire line of planets currently sitting in Aries. And it's a lot in the best way. Early morning, Venus opposes Pallas retrograde. So a little tug of war between how much you compromise in a relationship versus how much you really actually dig in your heels and hold your ground. Then that moon sextiles Pluto, conjuncts Neptune, and sextiles Uranus, all within just a few hours. That's going to be a stretch of deep release, dreamy fusion, and then sudden insight going back to back to back. So in the evening, the moon squares Mars, so there might be a flash of impatience there and an urge to act before you really think it through. Take a breath, right? Let's act, not react. But then it's going to resolve all beautifully. The moon trines Jupiter, bringing in some genuine luck and expansiveness. And finally, at 9:18 p.m. on Sunday, that moon conjunct Saturn retrograde. That's the actual ending, the end of the story of our week. After everything got cleared out of the eclipse, after that, following that eclipse, after the plot twist on Friday, this is the moment that you're going to ask yourself, okay, now that the fire's been cleared or put out, what am I actually ready to build? Because that energy from our eclipse, the eclipse season, is going to continue on for a few weeks before we really figure out what it all means. So let's zoom out for a second because it's easy to get lost in the day by day and really miss the shape of the whole week, the story. And this week wasn't a random pile of aspects. It was sequential and it's very purposeful. Mercury didn't shift into Virgo on Tuesday for no reason. It needed to happen before Thursday's eclipse because Pisces can only ask you to release what Virgo has already made clear and put in front of you. And the eclipse didn't leave you floating afterward either. Friday's Uranus square made sure the release actually stuck instead of quietly sliding back into place. And by Sunday, Saturn showed up to ask what you're actually ready to commit to now that all the noise is gone. So if there's one thing to carry out of this whole week, it's this. Clarity opens the door. The eclipse is going to walk you through it, and Saturn is going to make sure you stay and help you rebuild the path in front of you. So I'd love to know, what did this eclipse ask you to let go of? Drop it in the comments. I love reading the comments. I love when people come to our Times Square and share in the community what is happening for you. And then you can take advantage of all of the daily journal prompts and things that go along with everything in the astrology of each day. That's really our whole story. That's the story from start to finish. Clarity, release, the plot twist, and finally, something that we can build on. Not the smoothest week, but genuinely one of the more meaningful ones that we've had in a while. If you want to go for a deeper breakdown, like I said, the journaling prompts, have those daily conversations, get involved with our community, and all the different things that I have no time to go through on the podcast, or, some people would just, it'd be too long, right? It'd be incredibly long. That's all in our town square. So it's free for the first 30 days. So you can attend our live workshops, attend the lunar sessions, enjoy the daily prompts, go to the vault and see what content we have out there, enjoy some of the content for free, enjoy discounts on our services like your own astrology reading, and more. Those are all out in that town square community. Immersive-spirit.com. Please head there. The link is in the show notes. Would love to see you. Just come try it out. Nothing, it doesn't cost you a dime for the first 30 days. So that's it for this week. But I will just say, be gentle with yourself through Thursday night, get through that eclipse energy, and then I'll see you again next week. Until then, just stay grounded and keep looking up.